And here I thought that Dr. Disrespect was going to be the biggest drama of the year. I think it's now safe to say that I was very wrong about that. We have the biggest YouTube channel on the entire planet, the biggest content creator to ever grace this big blue planet, embroiled in severe controversy. What do I mean when I say severe? Well, it's simple. The co-host of MrBeast, someone who's been on there since the beginning of the channel, Ava Tyson, is being accused by her biological sister that her entire transition was nothing more than a sham. But that's nothing compared to what's been unearthed from the past. Some of the most disturbing, disgusting things I've ever seen someone commit online. And of course, you have an ex-employee saying that MrBeast's road to fame, his entire success, was based on nothing more than him being manipulative, dishonest, and an overall disgusting person. This is someone who's been praised by corporations and YouTubers and viewers for countless years. But now it turns out that a show he's working on with Amazon has people passing out due to lack of food and care. People are seeing him differently now. Make no mistake, you're witnessing absolute history in the making right now. This is similar to the YouTube adpocalypse or PewDiePie saying the word on the bridge. And I'm gonna tell it to you with every single piece of relevant information you need to fully understand it. Yes, if you've never watched a MrBeast video, you will still understand everything. So let's do this. Here's how I'm splitting this video. As always, the first part of every video of mine is context. Here, I'm gonna call it backstory. Who is MrBeast? Where did he come from? How did he get to the level he is today? And why is his childhood best friend so significant in his life and channel? Then the second part's going to be about Ava transitioning and the drama that ensued. It all happened in 2023 and it was a pretty significant moment, I would even argue the beginning of the end. The third part's called Ava is a weird and vicious monster, self-explanatory. It's everything that's been revealed to us regarding Ava, mainly in July, how it started and where we are today. And finally, we have part 4 that's still ongoing today. MrBeast is now in big trouble. Millions of dollars worth of reputational damage and cease and desists being sent out like cookies. It's getting insane. And then of course at the end, a small conclusion. As a disclaimer, YouTube has been very actively targeting videos talking about the situation and demonetizing them or even age restricting them, pretty much killing them on site. This means that this video will have some words that are censored that make zero sense, but bear with me, I have to do it, otherwise they'll just kill my video. So without further ado, let's do this. With over 300 million subscribers, MrBeast is the most subscribed channel in the history of YouTube, with the second most subscribed channel being T-Series. Infamously known for beating PewDiePie's sub count, not only did MrBeast beat it, but he's sitting at a very comfortable 30+ million subscriber lead. His stats can make a multi-billion-dollar corporation absolutely lose its mind, okay? He has gained 3 billion views just in the month of June 2024, as well as 27 million subscribers. Yes, in 1 month. Generating over $100 million worth of revenue just from advertisements without sponsors on his channel since he made it. And interestingly enough, this website, ViewStats, is also owned by him. This, of course, did not happen overnight though. MrBeast, otherwise known as his real name, Jimmy Donaldson, has had a long history of trying to make it on YouTube ever since 2012, back when he was 13 years old. This right here is a video back from 2015 with him saying why I changed my channel name. He wanted to call himself Beast, but YouTube search wouldn't show his channel, which is why he decided to call himself MrBeast 6000. He grew up in North Carolina in a very Christian household, and you can see this in the cover of his channel. Next to Beast, you can see, "I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ." Something you'd never imagine seeing on his channel today, but that's where he's from, that's his roots. And at the time, he wanted to showcase that. He prided himself on not having a niche, making videos on just about anything, right? But focusing sometimes on the idea of how much does a certain YouTuber make in terms of money? This was the question on everyone's minds back then. I can confirm, since I was also on YouTube around the same time he was on it. Me and him were born in the same year, actually. Every video he used to make had one goal: to reach virality, to become viral. That was his goal. But unfortunately, the quality of the videos on his channel at the time were just not really top tier like they are today. As you can see, right, this is him on his own channel page, and he was practically averaging around 100 to 150 views per video. He kept grinding for years until his first ever viral video came out. I counted to 100,000. He literally just sat there, okay, for 40 hours, just counting from 0 to 100,000. The video itself is under 24 hours because Premiere at the time just couldn't export more than that. I don't even know if it can today, to be honest, but he sped it up. He was banking on the idea that this video is so crazy, so stupid, no one would attempt it except for him, and that it would be really hard to not click on it just out of curiosity. It worked. Today it sits at over 30 million views and it was uploaded at the beginning of 2017. This only served to give him more motivation. He started uploading more and got more creative. The first ever person to appear on MrBeast's videos other than Jimmy was none other than Kris Tyson, MrBeast's best friend since childhood. In fact, his first ever subscriber too. They both go way back, as you can see from their yearbook pictures. Both having very similar backgrounds, both hailing from the same state, going to the same school, etc., etc. This would start to shift MrBeast in a different direction until opportunity came knocking and Jimmy answered it immediately. That opportunity was none other than PewDiePie versus T-Series. At the time, PewDiePie was the most subscribed channel on YouTube, but T-Series was threatening to catch up very quickly. This was a massive cultural moment on YouTube back then, right? And it mostly began around summer 2018. Some of the biggest YouTubers at the time, like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, MrBeast, KSI, etc., all united together, telling people to subscribe to PewDiePie to not let T-Series, a corporation, take over the most subscribed channel title. Jimmy would bank on this full force by making a video called Saying PewDiePie 100,000 times. The video succeeded so well, sitting at 26 million views as of today, that he had gained over 150,000 subscribers in under 24 hours. But he wasn't gonna stop there. He made a video called I Bought Every Billboard in My City for this, in which he bought billboards in North Carolina saying subscribe to PewDiePie to encourage the movement, right? And of course, PewDiePie reacted to this, growing his channel significantly more. Hell, at some point he bought multiple tickets in the front rows of the Super Bowl wearing shirts that said sub to PewDiePie, right? As you can see here, this is the picture. What he was doing was crazy at the time, spending insane amounts of money promoting this meme and also gaining a lot of fame because of it. Jimmy's goal was clear: to make videos so crazy that you just can't resist clicking on. But that didn't just include crazy stunts, it also included philanthropy. One of the first examples of this is giving a random homeless man $10,000. In which he literally just does that. He walks up to a homeless guy and gives him $10,000 cash, right? He was sponsored by Quid in this video and had managed to convince Quid, hey, listen, instead of giving me $5,000 for this, please just give me $10,000. I promise it'll bring in so many more views. And it did. The video today is at 11 million views. And very few people in the YouTube landscape at the time were doing something like this, something as crazy as this. In fact, he was reinvesting all the money he made from YouTube into making videos, and he had other channels too, like MrBeast Gaming, MrBeast 2, Beast Reacts, and of course, Beast Philanthropy. He had effectively engineered a complex engine that would fund itself to generate even more money. The videos on MrBeast Gaming, MrBeast 2, and Beast Reacts especially cost almost nothing to make. They would just sit there and watch videos, right? But it would get tens of millions of views, which would help them fund the things happening on the main channel. Beast Philanthropy, on the other hand, also generated tens of millions of views, but would have all the ad revenue generated be used onto the next video, which would be even more philanthropy. This is a business plan that some of the biggest companies on the planet can't even fathom. But Jimmy made it work. However, he was doing this on the internet. And it doesn't matter what you do on the internet, you'll always have some sort of haters pop up, especially when you start succeeding. For example, he had made a video called 1000 Blind People See for the First Time, in which he helps people who are partially or fully blind see again through a surgery. And he of course paid for it, right? This prompted people like the streamer Hassan Piker to say that it fills him with rage to see how the government isn't doing this and instead it's some YouTuber using it for content doing it. His wording made it seem like Jimmy was complicit or was doing a bad thing in all this. Now of course this wasn't the popular opinion, but that opinion still was there. But MrBeast acknowledged it regardless, saying that he doesn't understand why curable blindness is even a thing and is perplexed as to why governments don't step in and help. He also made this tweet saying, Twitter, rich people should help others with their money. Me, okay, I'll use my money to help people and I promise to give away all my money before I die, every single penny. Twitter, MrBeast bad, highlighting Twitter's hypocrisy. Those controversies did not stop him from continuing his philanthropic efforts, being featured on news channels, on the Rolling Stone, and continuing to push the boundary on content. But it wasn't just videos he was making, he was also creating business ventures, like Feastables Chocolate, his own chocolate brand, and the MrBeast Burger. He has a company, MrBeast LLC, with over 200 employees, and of course, due to the massive success of his Squid Game in real life video, signed a contract with Amazon MGM Studios to make his own series on their platform with a $5 million prize pool featuring 1,000 contestants. I mean, at this point, he was on fire. Every YouTuber was watching his career with great interest, but also corporations and anyone of influence was also somewhat interested. He was unstoppable, and he only wanted more. But that didn't mean he was the only person that got to enjoy the success. The people that appeared with him in his videos also got to experience that too. An example of this would be Chandler Hallow. He's been appearing from time to time in MrBeast's videos since 2018. And then in June 2023, he decided to create a channel called Golf with Chandler. Alright, so listen, channel created June 2023. By December 2023, he had 200,000 subscribers, and today he has 300,000. All he does is upload a short of him playing golf every month or 2 months or so. That's it. Now, an example of someone who actually banked on the fact that he was in MrBeast videos was Carl Jacobs. He used to be Jimmy's cameraman, but then became a part of the crew appearing in videos, and I mean, look at his YouTube channel, right? Almost 5 million subs, and his Minecraft videos perform incredibly well. In fact, there are many people over the years who have appeared either in a permanent or semi-permanent or just temporary state in his videos, and they all somewhat were able to take advantage of some sort of fame. And yes, even Sneeko was in a MrBeast video once, left the crew afterwards, and I mean, regardless of your opinion of him, he has a following, so it's a pretty big deal to appear in a MrBeast video. However, this was totally different for Ava Kris Tyson, the first person to ever appear in MrBeast's videos. If Jimmy was Batman, Ava was Robin. If you saw a massive production video from MrBeast and clicked on it, you knew that most likely you will find his childhood best friend in there too. No matter who joined the crew, no one would really take up a position higher than Ava, which meant that whether Jimmy knew this or not, his childhood best friend would end up being his biggest weakness, purely due to the heavy association they both had together. And he would, for the first time ever, experience drama surrounding his childhood best friend and his community in a way he could have probably never predicted, and that was when Ava decided to officially announce her transition. This is going to be very straightforward. If you were there during the transition, then you understand this was an all-out war. And if you weren't, well, you're about to see all-out war. But what you're also about to see is probably the first divisive community topic for MrBeast. The first time there were truly two different opinions that MrBeast couldn't control. And he was caught off guard. He had no experience in this at all. It wasn't pretty, as you'll soon find out. In early 2023, Ava had not yet transitioned but was showing signs that something was different. An example of this can be seen in this image, which was posted as a tweet on Ava's Twitter celebrating the fact that she had went to a nail tech for the first time. And in the video on Beast Reacts titled "I strapped a GoPro to a fish" back in January of 2023, people were also noticing not just the nails, but the overall style, the outfit, even the hair. And there's one thing to point out too, is that you cannot see a wedding ring on the left hand of Ava anymore. This was worth pointing out because at the time it was well known Ava was married and had a child. So there were also rumors of potential divorce. What really set this in stone was when Ava would go with MrBeast to the Nickelodeon's Kid Choice Awards. It clearly wasn't subtle anymore. Everything from the high heels to the pants to the outfit. With each passing day, Ava was being more direct, and this made more people start to theorize about what was going on. I mean, to illustrate to you how crazy the theories were, there was a conspiracy running around on Twitter and TikTok talking about the Carl effect. I've already talked about Carl Jacobs, who used to be a cameraman for MrBeast and then became a permanent member of the crew. But what I didn't mention was that Carl is bi, right? He's into both women and men, and also happens to paint his nails. This made people theorize that Carl is responsible for turning Ava gay, right? This was the theory running along Twitter and TikTok. People wanted answers. They were witnessing a stereotype of the American South, someone that embodied male values with a thick accent, turn into something completely different, almost overnight. And they finally got their answers from, well, Ava herself. Around April 9th, this tweet was made, saying, "Bro, what the f*** happened?" Showing an old picture of Ava, right, with a newer picture from the most recent MrBeast video at the time. Clearly showing a change not just in style, but in physiology. This is when Ava would do something completely unexpected and would quote tweet this, saying, "HRT, and it's only been 2 months." This sentence alone says a lot. HRT stands for hormone replacement therapy. It is typically the first major medical step when someone decides to transition from male to female. Ava had essentially admitted to more than just one thing here. Not only has she been taking HRT for 2 months, but she was pretty much telling the world, hey, by the way, I'm transitioning. And that confirmation blew the internet, or at least Twitter. Nolan Hansen, who does appear in MrBeast videos, says, "Holy smokes, I'm proud of you," as well as Carl Jacobs saying, "F the goofy motherfuckers, keep running your own stuff." Her friends were in full support of her transition. But what really added massive fuel to this fire was none other than Sunny V2, one of the biggest commentary channels on the entire platform. He made a video titled, "Why Kris Will Soon Be a Nightmare for MrBeast," shortly after she had revealed that she was on HRT. This is Sunny V2's most disliked video in history, sitting at 221,000 dislikes. In it, he highlights the chain of events that led to Ava's transition and the controversial online response. What Sunny V2 was highlighting in this video was that Ava was going to be more of a liability to MrBeast than he thinks, with potential to massively alienate a chunk of his audience that's been with him since the beginning, and showing off a livestream in which he unboxed boxes with Ava and looked uncomfortable. Using this clip right here as an example.
Jimmy, look, they drew you. Jimmy, they drew you so well. It looks just like you.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, it's Jimmy.
How did fan?
Right? This video also highlighted comments from both opinions, with a lot of them being against Ava, right? Highlighting the fact that this isn't as straightforward as it might seem. Giving the idea that even if Jimmy were to be against this or didn't like the transition, he can't say anything, otherwise he'd be cancelled. In any case, more than just the dislikes, the comments on this video called Sunny V2 out pretty hard, with many stating disappointment and that this might be the weirdest video on Sunny V2's channel. Of course, adding that it's very transphobic and that they wouldn't be watching Sunny V2 again. This tweet right here is a good example of the types of comments he was receiving. This new Sunny V2 video feels really invasive for all the wrong reasons. Like, why did you make this? You delved into the man's marriage and shit. It's just really off-putting and unnecessary. This is when Jimmy would be forced to do something he never thought he'd have to do. Defend his childhood friend. He replied to this tweet and said this, "Yeah, this is getting absurd. Kris isn't my nightmare, he's my fucking friend, and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off." This wasn't the only thing he was going to say about this though. He would also reply to an account that said, "In a few years, look back at this thread and remember they were never your friends, only yes men cowards. Hope you come out of this safe." Jimmy replies with opinion irrelevant ratio, and ratios that account. The account replies yet again and says, "I have 30 followers, so go ahead and ratio me. I'll still rest easy knowing I'm not a coward who idly stands by watching a friend ruin his own life." This already was a very divisive topic. It took over the internet for a while. But the next major step for Ava was in July of that same year, when she got on Anthony Padilla's show and pretty much for the first time says, "Hey, I'm a woman and my new pronouns are she, her." So pretty much confirming, listen, the transition is now going full force. This made things even crazier. As you can see, this video does have quite a few dislikes, and those are the people that were against this transition. One of their main talking points is that Ava was pretty much transitioning and giving up on her wife and her kid. Ava cleared that up on Twitter saying, listen, my kid loves me and I'm good with my ex-wife, so you guys are wrong in that regard. Even throwing in statements like, hey look, trans people around kids, I don't know where this rumor comes from, but they're totally safe around us. Speaking more to her supporters rather than the people who were against her. This controversial topic only grew from there. Even now, if you were to go to Beast Reacts, the last 2 videos uploaded on this channel had Ava exclusively. You would see massive amounts of dislikes. But this wasn't limited to just viewers, it also stretched to content creators. Not Your Average Flight, otherwise known as Flight Reacts, is a YouTuber that made it very big reacting to content with his very unique reactions, right? He's particularly popular on short form pieces of content like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. One of the things he'd react to was MrBeast videos, and he had this thing where every time Ava, Kris, Tyson would appear in the video, he would be visibly disgusted and wouldn't try to hide it. Watch.
You could say it's unsafe now.
Out of every explosion we've ever done, what you're about to see is the kind of feels like a digital.
Why do you have a digital?
If I was to legitimately guess how many hours I am, I think it's
He doesn't try to hide it, dude. He doesn't try to hide it at all. And bear in mind, these clips have tens of millions of views on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, as well as many likes and comments directly agreeing with him, saying things like, oh yeah, you know, Flight is exactly me when I'm watching MrBeast. The idea here is just like how in American politics, people are very divided over trans rights, this carried over to MrBeast's videos due to the size of his massive audience. This wasn't just limited to the US though. Many of his viewers were overseas in countries that don't even recognize LGBT rights. Things were getting very ugly. But one thing was for certain. Whether intended or not, Ava had become one of the biggest ambassadors of the trans community. Her Twitter feed became a very safe space for anything trans, always documenting the progress of the transition, showing off face pics, body pics, and always encouraging her followers to follow through their dreams of becoming who they want to be. Ava was most definitely milking this, and hey, it was working, alright? Like, obviously, as you can see from the likes and the views, it was reaching its intended audience, and they were happy about it too. But there was an elephant in the room, and it was the fact that Ava had always been edgy in her younger years, especially the first ones on YouTube. So to truly cement this position of trans rights ambassador and fully commit to this new wholesome approach, she made sure to clear things up, right? This is someone posting a reply from Ava a long time ago, back in 2016, saying, "Nothing gets my knob a-cranking like some blank," which is a 4-letter word that refers to drawings of fictional children. Usually, okay, put in some very inappropriate acts. I'm sure you can guess which ones. Again, I don't want this video to get demonetized. But a tweet like this is, of course, nasty, immature, and quite frankly, disgusting. But on November 2023, Ava felt like, you know what, let me just clear this up. And here's what she had to say. Yeah, 7+ years ago, I was in a thread saying wild shit for likes. I've said worse shit than this. I'll spend every day for the rest of my life making up for the shitty person I was. You would celebrate me if I still acted like this. You're a pathetic hypocrite. This wasn't the first time Ava had brought this up. She brought this up actually very shortly after announcing she was on HRT in a tweet longer, saying, "Hey everyone, I wanted to talk about my past insensitive tweets. I wanted to address some things that have been brought to light from my past and apologize. I will not make any excuses because I am completely responsible for my actions and words. I want to start off by saying that the person I was when I was making these edgy jokes and tweets years ago is not the person I am today. During that time in my life, I had a lot of hate for myself that I let flow out through my humor and opinions. As I've matured, I've realized that edgy jokes can do so much to hurt people. Growing up in the South, I picked up on many views and opinions that I now strongly disagree with and have since re-educated myself on. I have been reading all your responses, DMs, and videos, and I want you to know I have learned from this and I am going to keep using my platform to try to help people and spread messages of acceptance and love. I will continue to reflect on this and try my best to make a positive impact on the world as much as I can." And with this, Ava had successfully quelled the fires of her past. Or so she thought. Because the things that were surfacing back then were nothing compared to what resurfaced almost a year later. That not only shows that Ava Kris Tyson is a weirdo and a very disturbed individual, but that she is a vicious, manipulative monster. Hey, don't look at me. I told you it was going to be all-out war. But it's still sunshine and rainbows compared to what happened next. We're now in present day, July 2024, and this is where shit goes down. Buckle up. You'll need the support. Let's do this. What triggered the biggest controversy of the year was actually a tweet by Nick Merckx directed towards Ava. On June 22nd, 2024, while replying to a post from Ava, he said, "You should be ashamed of yourself, leaving behind your wife and child to play pretend. One day you'll wake up and realize what you've done," referencing her transition. Immediately after that tweet, of course, Drama Alert tweets about it, saying Nick Merckx calls out Kris Tyson, reiterating that tweet. MrBeast responded in under an hour, saying Ava is literally always with her kid and doesn't even go on shoots to spend more time with him. Tuckman is always smiling, not sure why this rumor is a thing. Ava adds more to this, saying they just want to villainize trans people. When they realize and accept that I am in his life, arguably more than most parents are able to be, they say I'll ruin him or far worse things. They don't actually care. They want to move the goalpost so they can go see trans people bad. And then someone who's not typically on social media spoke out about this too. Katie, the ex-wife of Ava, released this statement, saying, "Mine and Tucker's life are both better than ever," of course Tucker being her kid. "Tucker's life is kept relatively private, as much as it can be, solely because of people like you who try to make a headline topic with a 4-year-old's life blasted as a headline. There are plenty of other things in this world to talk about, other than a 4-year-old who will one day see all of this. Imagine having to get introduced to the internet and having all of your life as headline topics. All of his life bashed all over the internet. His life is kept private as much as possible, and not so people like you can create a headline of a life and situation you know nothing about. So next time, please choose a different headline, other than an innocent 4-year-old's life. Our lives are the best they've ever been, and Tucker is loved and cared for by both his parents and in both homes, and is thriving. I don't know who Nick is, and I don't care who he is, but as a parent himself, is this the example we want to set for our children? When we don't agree with someone, we bash them, their families, drag others' children through the trenches by spreading false information about their lives? Be better, set better examples." Ava then quote tweeted Katie's tweet and said, "Katie doesn't like being on the internet, but it's gotten to a point where people are using my 4-year-old child as clickbait, so we sat down and discussed how we wanted to address this. I mean, seriously, I just scratched my kid's back for an hour and I have to respond to this." Ava then ends her statement with this, saying, "Anyways, trans people can be great parents. Them and their ex-partners can have cordial and healthy co-parenting relationships, and anyone who throws a child into internet drama does give a fuck about saving the kids." As this was going on, Jake Franklin, otherwise known as Jake the Viking, someone who has appeared in numerous MrBeast videos, actually quote-tweeted Nick Merckx's tweet and said, "Let him know," very clearly taking the side of Nick over Ava. This resulted in Ava saying, "Never ask Jake how he protected his kid or his family from his bro-in-law." She deleted this fairly quickly afterwards, but I mean, the damage's been done. As you can see, it's posted on Reddit with over 1,000 upvotes, right? So God knows what she meant by this. Look, things were getting heated, but this was nothing compared to what came next, right? This was nothing more than just another beef that would have done nothing and only empowered both sides of this argument, without converting anyone from either side, right? Until people started digging into Ava's past again and found more than what she had just apologized for after her transition. You see, people found Ava's old Reddit account called TysonBoy34. As you can see here, she had made a comment saying, "My roommate is MrBeast, the guy who counted to 100,000. Took him 40 hours, but he got like 7 million views. YouTubers, man, crazy bunch." I really wish the other comments on this account were that normal, but as you can guess, they were far from it. Like this comment, "But you can still get teen love? 14-year-olds always stay 14. I don't even want to know what the context was here, but this sounds bad no matter what context it's in. But this is still, unfortunately, the beginning. One of the worst comments I have seen in this entire controversy was posted by Ava on the r/4chan subreddit, saying, "Why the fuck would you use your VR headset for anything other than 3D? Oh my god, that is terrible." What follows after is the 4-letter word for drawings of fictional children, And then after that, I really can't say it without being demonetized, so I'm gonna put 2 images here, read them in succession, okay? Gang, and the last word, of course, is corn, but without the C. And some of you watching might be in disbelief right now. Am I actually hearing this correctly? Yes, unfortunately, you are. This is extremely vile and disgusting to the highest degree. And there was undeniable proof that Ava had said this. This tweet was unearthed yet again, even though Ava apologized for this already. Saying this all of a sudden kind of started looking differently, especially after what she had said on Reddit. This didn't help either, saying that bitch looked good for a 4-year-old back in 2017. But what took this weirdness to an absolutely different level was Ava's obsession with an extremely controversial and absolutely putrid human being known as Shadman. Shaddai Pregene, otherwise known as Shadman, is a, let's just say, artist. Someone who got kicked out of his art university because they argued he was a menace to society, and man, they were not wrong at all. This is someone who rose to prominence, who rose to fame for being edgy in a period on the internet where being edgy always got one-upped by other people. He managed to reach the peak of edginess. Back during the period of 2016 to 2017, he would be known as an artist who draws characters that are very clearly underage, committing some illegal acts, let's just say that. For example, when Keemstar's daughter was 7 years old, someone dared Shadman to draw her committing some pretty horrible acts to Trump, because why not? Shadman said he'd do it if Trump won the election. Guess what? He did. He ended up drawing Keemstar's 7-year-old daughter, a real-life kid, committing some really fucked up shit. Additionally, he also drew Daphne Keene, a 12-year-old girl that appeared in the Logan movie. And I assure you, right, like especially if you're sensitive, if you were to see these drawings, you'd probably vomit, okay? I'm not even going to describe them, I'm not going to show them blurred. Daphne Keene's legal team reached out to him to take it down from his website. It was that bad. Regardless though, he would still gain almost 1 million followers and have many people associate with him because they thought he was cool. One of the people who associated with him the most openly was Belle Delphine, but I mean, I'm not surprised. At some point, he was even arrested for assault, but he got out and still posts to this day. Thankfully though, it just seems to be drawings of Belle Delphine. He's obsessed with her, so hopefully it stays that way. All this to say that Ava had a big obsession with him during his very edgy period of drawing kids. This is an underage character from an anime, and of course, you can see Ava saying, "Please Chad, please," begging him to draw her. When the Incredibles 2 trailer came out, Ava said, "Shadman is going to love this," no doubt talking about the underage characters featured in that trailer, most notably Violet, who Ava had already expressed so passionately that she found cute. But of course, this all wasn't enough. What took it a step further was Ava commissioning actual art from Shadman. Again, I'm blurring this to the maximum. It's just a girl with braces. She looks clearly underage. She has an object in her mouth that looks like, let's just say, a giant mushroom. And she even has a tattoo, a spade tattoo that says BBC. And no, not the British Broadcasting Corporation. The other thing, the inappropriate thing. What's even worse here is that this was on the wall of Ava's bedroom. And if you remember, during this time period, Ava and Jimmy were sharing the same place. They were roommates. And it was featured in a video on MrBeast's channel. In fact, you can see Jimmy right here staring directly at the poster, indicating that he at least knew this existed. It's a terrible look, which is why there's a 4th part in this video that talks about how MrBeast might have been complicit. Ava was so obsessed with Shadman that she opened his website on stream by mistake. I mean, seriously. And right under this tweet, you can see "Peep my favorite snack in the spaghetti," which is a picture of Tide Pods referencing a drawing from Shadman of a mom and her child. And yeah, you guessed it, they commit some pretty disgusting acts that involves Tide Pods. Associating so heavily with an artist who draws real-life children, put in some of the most vile and disgusting situations you can imagine, someone who also happens to be a criminal, is a very bad look. And it makes something very obvious. Ava completely downplayed what she has done in the past. I honestly wish that's the extent of where things went, but no, this wasn't just limited to drawings. Ava really did have a fascination for minors and invading their privacy. Jeanette McCurdy, who was a Nickelodeon child actress, had inappropriate images of her leaked at some point. Oh, and I should mention that Jeanette McCurdy is underage in those images. Ava had made a video about the situation and just so happened to link those images. Yes, the same images of an underage person. She linked them in the description of the video. Yeah, you heard that right. This actually happened. Like, imagine the mental gymnastics that are going on in her head for her to actually do that. Be like, hey guys, I'm sure you guys are curious, so here's a link to, something that can land you in jail, something illegal. But she talks about it so nonchalantly in this video. It is honestly alarming at an incredible level. It's just disgusting. Let's take a step back for a bit. While all this was happening, people started infighting. Instead of focusing on Ava and the disgusting things she's done, content creators started going at each other's throats, saying things like what XQC said. He kind of triggered it, really. This is what he said. I follow mostly only influential creators here, yet most have been silent about the Kris Tyson situation. Pretty deviant behavior across the board. Weirdo. Can't wait to read some of the cope justifications on why it wasn't addressed. By the way, next time I'm adding the whole squad, stop hiding behind the noise. So here XQC is kind of indirectly saying, hey, everyone spoke about Dr. Disrespect the day it came out, the day his allegations came out, as soon as people understood he was texting a minor. Why isn't Ava getting the same treatment? And some of the top people in his mind, of course, were Pokimane and Valkyrae, people who immediately tweeted out that Dr. Disrespect is disgusting, but hadn't said anything about Ava. Not long after, Pokimane made a tweet saying, I don't know all the details regarding the Ava situation, but I want to make it clear, any inappropriate behavior towards minors is unacceptable regardless of who you are. And then says, it's a shame that people will see this as an opportunity to attack the trans community as a whole. One person's actions does not reflect on every single trans person, so please don't view it that way. So it was clear. People were not speaking about it as comfortably as they were when it came to Dr. Disrespect because they were more worried about how it will reflect badly on the trans community and therefore reflect bad on them rather than focusing on just Ava's acts. And of course, there are two sides to this argument. This is why I made sure to mention in my second part of this video that yes, Ava was seen as some sort of an ambassador for the trans community. Something that was initially celebrated, but is now embarrassing, humiliating. This meme sums it up right here. Trans community, we've made so much progress over the past decade. Hopefully a pedophile doesn't set us back half a century. Ava, Kris, Tyson. This is similar to how PewDiePie was the most subscribed YouTuber and represented all YouTubers. So whenever he did something, all YouTubers would look bad, not just in the face of the public, but in the face of advertisers. I grew up a PewDiePie fan, right? But even I can tell you, his actions, while being the #1 YouTuber, definitely contributed to the adpocalypse. And Ava being the co-host of the biggest YouTube channel on the planet and happening to be a representative of the trans community, I mean, there's a reason both sides of the political spectrum hate Ava right now, including the trans community. As if that wasn't bad enough, it turned out that Ava was messaging minors inappropriately. Here's a 14-year-old showing off their Snapchat conversation with Ava, and something that was really weird that you'll see popping up more than once is the fact that Ava always called minors she was talking to dad or daddy or mom or mommy. Just some really weird stuff. Just overall sending a bunch of different snaps, being very friendly with someone way younger than her because, at the time she was like 20 or more. Additionally, Ava was known to have a Discord that had a lot of minors in it. We're going to get to that later because there's a lot of stuff to unpack there. But here's an example of being in a voice chat with at least one minor present and just being inappropriate.
I know, dude. I would come inside of that egg and then watch her eat it and then watch her have sex with another man while she comments about how my genitalia can never satisfy her.
After this tweet came out, by the way, I should point out, Ava deleted her Snapchat account, right? As this was all blowing up, people found this video from June 17th by Prism42, in which he painstakingly sits down in a park and reads out from a stack of papers messages between Ava and a user by the name of Lava. A minor he accused Ava of grooming. Lava was 13 years old at the time he met Ava. Ava and Lava met through a CSGO knife giveaway. Ava gave him the knife and then invited him to the Discord. Keemstar got right on it and said, MrBeast connected me directly to Lava, the alleged Kris Tyson group victim. Lava, I was not groomed by Kris Tyson. Lava. I did not meet Kris Tyson by myself. I met Kris and the MrBeast crew with my family present, and then finally I ran a Discord with Kris Tyson when I was 13 and edgy inappropriate jokes were said. That's it. Staunchly denying the fact that he was groomed. And as you can see from the second line, people were also accusing Ava of meeting up with Lava IRL. But Lava clarifies, no, I met the whole crew with my parents. Now, one thing worth saying, the reason why Prism 42 isn't really looked at very positively here is because the reason why he was able to get this information was because he tricked Lava into thinking he was applying for a job, right? He reached out to him under the guise of looking for a potential employee and completely tricked him, blindsided him. And then contacted someone who was also involved with minors, pretty heavily, I should add, called EDP445, and asked him to say this for the video.
Holy shit, man. So my motherfucking main Kris Tyson supports child. He's into that freak ass shit, that nasty ass disgusting motherfucking shit, man. And see, we gotta protect our youth.
This is... what kind of timeline am I living in, dude? Like, this is someone who actually got in trouble for messaging a 13-year-old. Inappropriately, I should add. The whole thing is just an absolute fucking mess. Anyway, at this point, Lava was starting to tweet, doubling down on his stance. Here's what he had to say. These videos are massive lies and twisting the truth. Ava never did anything wrong and just made a few edgy jokes. I was never exploited or taken advantage of. Can you do me a favor and comment on these videos and tell them to stop spreading lies? This situation takes away from children who are actively being exploited every day online. I am not a victim of anything being claimed in these videos or at all. Linking a video by Cheeto and a video by Sensitive Society. People were still convinced that Lava was in denial, some people even accusing him of being paid off. Lava replied to that initial tweet saying, I'm not a victim and I'm not backpedaling any statements I've already made. Everything I have stated is still very true. Nothing bad happened between me and Kris. People are creating lies around my name. Yesterday, while under a lot of stress from trying to get my story out as quickly as possible, I made a mistake and included 2 videos in a tweet that had nothing to do with my situation. Here are the correct videos and these ones should be taken down. I apologize to the creators of the original videos on the first screenshots, Cheeto and Sensitive Society. Linking 2 different videos that are actually talking about him. Again, his replies were not really on his side. Many were still convinced that he was being groomed. But it doesn't take a genius to understand Lava was under a lot of stress. He was being told by an enormous amount of people that he is a victim, that he's being groomed. It will be stressful to deny these people, but it would also be, I would argue, more stressful to acknowledge them and maybe even taking a step back and thinking, wait, maybe I was groomed. It's not an easy position to be in. But after much silence and anticipation, Ava Kris Tyson, after having deleted all of her tweets on Twitter, made a tweet finally addressing the situation, saying, I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things MrBeast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. I want to add, I never groomed anyone. The person who gets brought up in these accusations, Lava has vocally supported they are false. Having said that, I humbly apologize to anyone I have hurt with my unacceptable social media posts, past actions, and to those who may feel betrayed by how I used to act online. To lump those 2 factors together to create a narrative that my behavior extended beyond bad edgy jokes is disgusting and did not happen. In past years, I have learned that my old humor is not acceptable. I cannot change who I was, but I can continue to work on myself. I don't want these accusations to impact the hundreds of people who work at MrBeast, which is why I have stepped away. This apology or statement drew a lot of mixed reactions. On one hand, Ava didn't even try to defend herself, but on the other, she doubled down on the whole Lava situation, saying, no, I didn't do that. At least I didn't do that one, but for the rest, didn't really bother explaining. Things did not end there though. If Ava was hoping that, then she was dead wrong. Logs from the Discord that Ava and Lava were in, right? This was Ava's Discord, really, leaked, showing that this was more than just a few edgy jokes. And that there was also an NSFW section, right? A section in the server where 18 plus things were shared, with Ava fully knowing that there were minors there, right? The Twitter user Nathan, who had the same moderator status as Lava when he was 15 and in Ava's Discord, was at the forefront of these leaks. Here's what he had to say. Watch.
Kris Tyson from MrBeast used me, manipulated me, and did very inappropriate things with me while I was about 15 years old. I was actually friends with Lava GS at the time, who is the main victim of Kris that everyone has been talking about these last few days, who claims he isn't a victim, but we all know he is, and we all know he probably got paid off. Not only that, but he's also under an NDA from when he worked for MrBeast Gaming for 2 years, and he tried to get me to join MrBeast Gaming himself, Lava. He's the one who actually sent me the contract and tried to get me to sign the NDA, at which point I ended our friendship because I knew they were just trying to silence me. Me and him were both initially involved in running Kris's Discord server, helping him set up his Twitch streams and moderating them.
Nate's calling me. Hey, what's up? You're on stream.
You just leaked your address. Please end your stream. As well as other technical back-end things that he needed help with. This Discord server that we were a part of had about 10 people in it, most of whom were minors. I'm not sure how they got in there, other than me and Lava. He won a giveaway and Kris invited him after that, and Kris invited me after I saw one of his tweets asking for help setting up a Garry's Mod server for the 10 million subscriber MrBeast video. This turned into us having lots of private conversations with Kris and playing video games with him for hours on end. Not only did we do a lot of unpaid work for him that he promised he would pay us for, he would also frequently bring up sexual topics that was definitely not appropriate to bring up around 15, 16-year-olds, especially with him being like, I don't know, 20, 21 years old. He would even go as far as linking me several different corn and hentai videos throughout the time of me talking with him. Not only that, but he had an NSFW bot in his Discord server before he made it public. So when it was just a private server, his little circle of minors. And he would use this NSFW bot to spam different corn images, alongside all these 15-year-olds. He would also frequently call me dad and daddy as well as the others, which I guess we all kind of just took as a joke at the time. You have to think this is someone who we looked up to at the time, we idolized, we thought was the coolest person in the world, so they couldn't really do any wrong in our eyes. But looking back, I was definitely uncomfortable at being called...
It cuts off here, right? But then he posts this to finish it off.
At being called daddy by a 20-year-old. Even just thinking about it now, it's just uncomfortable. This server later went public and became his official Discord server, but before it did, he had me and Lava spend multiple days scrubbing this Discord server clean of all of the N-words he had sent in it, as well as his friends, as well as deleting the NSFW channels and making sure no one could see that he was spamming corn to minors. This story is so much bigger and runs so much deeper than any of you really realize, so if you want to hear more and you want a part 2, let me know.
Yeah, that was a lot to take in, right? Now I do want to clear something up. In the beginning of Nathan's video, he says he is sure that Lava's being paid off, and that we all know that's the case. No, we don't. There's no proof regarding this, and I find it hard to believe. But the other things he said were very interesting. Nathan would go on to say that one of his friends who was on the server, another moderator, had actually saved all the logs before scrubbing it clean of all the bad things that Ava and her friends had said, and that they were going to upload them. They actually did. Over 500,000 messages were published on a GitHub website of everything that was said, but then it got taken down abruptly. We still don't know why. It didn't matter though, because it was enough for us to understand that Ava had not only talked about inappropriate things with minors, because remember, most of the server was minors, but Ava's obsession with Shadman would still be prevalent. I mean, look at this. Sharing Shadman's website, shadbase.com, to a channel that mostly has minors, that is insane to me. Then making a comment like this, attaching God knows what, saying she is only 14, damn. Imagine saying that. Even as a joke, talking about inappropriate things, adult films, lewd drawings, you name it. She had no filter, and it's almost like she enjoyed it. I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, a website was made by the name of Groomel in which you can search any messages in that Discord from the 500,000 leaked messages, including a filter just for Kris's messages. I tried it though and it doesn't really work. I think it was connected to the GitHub repository that was removed. Again, we still don't know why. This Reddit comment right here I think really emphasizes how weird this is. One of the things I find super disturbing is in the midst of these kids discussing the hentai and other types of porn being posted or spammed in the Discord, you'll see them asking for help with their Algebra 2 or Spanish homework, or talking about waiting to be picked up from school, really emphasizing how young these kids were. And it makes it so striking how insanely inappropriate and creepy any adult would have to be to cultivate this kind of environment for them or have a friendship with them. And I completely agree. Ava had essentially created a space with her and just a bunch of minors, almost a dozen of them, and was sharing some of the most vile things you can imagine with them while talking about topics that were very inappropriate. Now Lava, having his memory refreshed and seeing the logs themselves, had this to say. Based on the recent screenshots and messages, I would like to say a statement about the Discord. This was 5 or 6 years ago and I thought I had a good memory of situation, but I was wrong. After reading the chat logs, this stuff was inappropriate and wrong. I spoke based on my memory of the situation and I still do not remember these conversations, but they definitely happened. These conversations should not have happened with people at the age I was at the time. I strongly condemn them. I still believe I am not a grooming victim, but these conversations should not have happened with me and any other minor in this Discord. I was a minor in this situation and not the adult influencer who shouldn't have allowed this to happen. I did not see this wrong at the time. So at this point, people saw this as him finally folding, him truly understanding for the first time how serious these allegations were. And regardless if he said that he still doesn't see himself as a grooming victim, this statement and confusion only served as further proof for many people that Lava is a victim, just a victim in denial. He then went on to quote tweet that tweet we just read and said this: "I appreciate everyone taking this tweet as me talking about everything I have stated about Ava Tyson. It is not. This is only about the Discord logs, and the reason I spoke on my memory being bad is I have thousands of conversations in the Discord. I did not speak to Ava 24/7 even before the Discord server. We spoke a few times a week, and that's why I'm able to remember what actually happened between me and her. I still believe the other allegations deserve to be investigated. I'm not defending the actions of Ava. Also, the Great Cleansing is not related to the original cleaning the Discord statement Nathan made, and he knows that. This Great Cleansing was years after the server went public. We were talking about scrubbing any word that might be against TOS so we could get a Discord partnership. This includes words like boomer, corn, a 3-letter word that typically signifies when someone is arriving, and others. Below is more logs from that Discord server confirming that. I still do not remember the NSFW channel stuff, but it's been proven to have existed from logs." So yeah, Lava is right. These logs do prove that the second cleansing that he was talking about was mostly for partnership reasons. But from the eyes of many people, especially in his replies, he was just digging himself in a deeper hole. This only made Ava look worse, and Lava as a more confused individual. And frankly, who are we to blame? Lava must be very confused right now, going through a rough time. The logs helped prove one thing though, that Ava is a very weird individual. And that's all we really needed. There's been so much info so far. Let's take a step back. I think anyone with common sense can see that Ava is an absolute weirdo by now. But all the things we've uncovered so far have been things from the past. And ever since her transition, Ava claims to be a changed person, someone who has seen the light and has been re-educated into what it means to be a good person. Maybe some people watching right now actually believe that. Well, I have news for you. That is all bullshit. The Twitter user by the name of Muskina, a trans woman, had this to say: "I was sexually assaulted by Ava Tyson and here is my story. For context, Ava and I are both adults and met each other as adults. Ava followed me on Twitter in November of 2022 after seeing my transition timelines on Twitter when I had under 500 followers." Here we can see DMs between Muskina and Ava, Muskina making the first move saying, "You're a fucking inspiration and you rock," with Ava replying saying, "Hey, you are too, thanks so much. Also, you look incredible. How long have you been on HRT? Since like February. Thank you so much." This had started their very interesting relationship. And before you say anything, I know this looks photoshopped, it got community noted, and the community note says this isn't a digitally alternated photo, this is Android's high contrast mode. So this outline right here, yeah, that means you have an Android. My condolences. Muskina then links to a huge thread with receipts, Telegram messages, Twitter messages, a bunch of things proving that her and Ava had a relationship. Now, what did this relationship consist of? I'll explain. So here's how their relationship started. The reason why Ava messaged Muskina about HRT was because she was planning to get on HRT at the time. She still hadn't started the process, and confided in Muskina, made her feel very, very special by telling her, hey, I'm actually considering on doing this, but I haven't told, I barely told anyone. To Muskina, who is a MrBeast fan, she was just absolutely mind blown. Muskina would then ask Ava for a job, right? Saying, listen, I've been miserable working terrible jobs. I would love it if I could work around you guys. I'm comfortable around famous people. I've worked in a comedy club. Just please let me know. I'll drive literally tonight. Ava replies with, yeah, I'll keep you in mind. You know, we need people to compete in competitions. So if we need people to sit in a circle or something, I'll let you know. They had met in November of 2022, a little bit before Ava had started HRT. So according to Muskina, Ava was love bombing her, right? Telling her things like, oh my god, I told my friends about you, you're making a huge impact on my life, etc, etc. They moved their conversation to Snapchat. They then started having video calls in Discord, video chats as well, and this is when Ava would start to ask her to do some things, some favors. I'm sure you know what that means. Ava would straight up be like, hey listen, touch yourself. And Muskina was under the impression that she had to do that multiple times in order to get into a video or get a job. Their conversations leaned in the direction of affectionate and even inappropriate, and Ava was also sending a lot of not safe for work things. Eventually, Muskina got flown over to Ava's house in North Carolina, giving her a one-way ticket. Muskina would sleep in the same bed as Ava, and Ava would repeatedly, throughout her stay at her home, ask for favors. Again, you know what I'm talking about. A favor that is very similar to sucking on a lollipop. Muskina feels inclined to also include the fact that after announcing that Ava was on HRT, on that same day, Ava was receiving from Muskina, and Jimmy called Ava. Ava answered, spoke to Jimmy while Muskina was down there doing her thing. What am I even reading at this point, man? This is crazy. Muskina then found out through a conversation between her, Ava, and a friend that Ava actually had no control over who would show up in a MrBeast video, which made her very confused, feel used, and proceeded to leave to go back home. Muskina would then get a job offer from Ava to work as her assistant, and Muskina said yes. However, Ava would still expect her to do certain acts, and would ask repeatedly. Muskina felt pressured to say yes and not say no. I should mention that when Muskina was Ava's assistant, they lived together. Muskina would then message Ava telling her, yo, listen, I don't like this. This is making me uncomfortable. I don't know whether we're a professional relationship, intimate relationship, I don't know what we are. And Ava said, you know what, dude, let's just focus on our friendship. I don't want this job to get in the way. So listen, we don't need to do any intimate stuff. This was, as you can see from the conversation, in August of 2023, right? Back when Ava said, oh yeah, I fully changed, guys. Don't worry, I'm embracing this new me. But while they didn't do anything directly, naked, they still kept doing a lot of stuff regardless. Even sleeping in the same bed sometimes. Then it turned out Muskina wanted to be in a relationship officially because she felt strongly about Ava. Ava said, I feel the same way. And then added, well, I am flying to meet up someone and we're probably gonna, do stuff. Muskina didn't mind because she wanted an open relationship. However, after doing stuff with that person Ava flew to see, she apparently was calling them her boyfriend, not even a week afterwards. Muskina linked the entire argument they had on Discord here. There is no way in hell I'm reading all that, but in a nutshell, it's Muskina typing a lot, saying how displeased she is, and Ava saying, well, I think you're just overreacting, everything's fine. But Muskina didn't like this. It was impacting her mental health, so she decided, you know what, I'm gonna move out. Ava was like, sure. Muskina says, when I moved out, we had an agreement that I would keep my job as a hybrid travel/remote/work from home position. When I reached out to Ava after moving out to discuss my schedule for the rest of the month, she informed me that she was already working on replacing me. Here you can see text on Telegram of Ava saying, I'm about to get back into the channel and I need someone to steer me in the right direction. I took this as kind of you resigning. This isn't really a mobile position. And Muskina at first tries to be as understanding as possible, but then is very visibly confused over this. Muskina complained to HR about her relationship with Ava and how it was inappropriate. Ava sent her a message saying, wow, Jess, and then blocked her on everything. Now, the timeline of events might seem confusing, but this message of wow, Jess, in July 7th was in 2024. This was barely a couple weeks before all the allegations came out about Ava, right? Muskina ends her statement by saying, I don't want hush money and I don't want clout. I just want to be able to move on with my life and close this chapter. So this isn't just any accusation. A lot of chat logs, there are a lot of receipts. I encourage you to check this out yourself. But of course, to some people, they might see this as, oh, these are two consenting adults exchanging favors and Ava might have done nothing wrong. But I would argue, if anything, just other than all the minor allegations, first off, this shows us that Ava did not change. The transition didn't give her a second coming or anything. No, it actually didn't do anything. If anything, it just gave her the ability to take advantage of people who are trans, who might get the impression that, oh, I have a safe space talking to this person. They are an ambassador of the trans community with how big they are and how much support the community has shown them, only to then take advantage of them. Muskina's story serves to show me that Ava isn't just a weirdo for the things she had done around children, or isn't just concerningly vile and disgusting for the things she had done with Shadman. This also serves to show me that Ava is a vicious, disgusting monster who will use her platform on MrBeast to coerce and seduce people, making them think they're gonna find fame or even a job, just so she can use them every single day. And I mean, isn't this what Ava's been doing for years now? From the Discord with the minors, reaching out to them and inviting them over, to being able to be buddy-buddy with Shadman, to what's going on right now. Make no mistake, this has been going on for a long time, and it would have continued if Ava was not caught. Additionally, Ava's sister, yes, her biological sister, tweeted this out before privating her account. I'm his sibling. He, and yes, I use the correct pronoun, told me that he got fully aroused when he secretly stole my female clothes and put them on. He's deluded and disturbed, and it's 100% a fetish. He's narcissistic, and professionals have told him he needs a full psych eval. Yeah, that's absolutely huge. This is a bombshell. The words I had to censor, I mean, you know, pretty much the first word is what happens when a man sees a very hot woman. The second word is, let's just say, a strong preference in bed for something in particular. This again doesn't help Ava's public image. And I 100% agree with the last sentence. I do believe that Ava is an extremely narcissistic and even sociopathic individual. Finally, after the entire internet waited and currently sitting at 100+ million views, MrBeast finally made a statement regarding all this, saying, over the last few days, I've become aware of the serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I am disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. During that time, I have been focused on hiring an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure I have all the facts. That said, I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with MrBeast. I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions. I will allow the independent investigators the necessary time to conduct a comprehensive investigation and will take any further actions based on their findings. And with that, the entire online career, online presence of Ava Kris Tyson has been rendered to ashes. There was no coming back from this. The person who was by your side since day one, your best friend, had pretty much said, you know what? No, get the hell away from me. I want nothing to do with you. However, what MrBeast might have not been expecting is that this tweet was not going to necessarily absolve him from everything. Oh no. His first ever subscriber and his best friend since childhood hadn't just damaged the reputation of something he has worked countless hours on, but this also served as a way to open the floodgates to anyone who has had an issue with Jimmy at any point in time. And it also served to expose him and some of the dodgy, shady things he's done on his channel throughout the years. To many, this wasn't just Ava's downfall, it was Jimmy Donaldson's downfall as well. So hopefully you're not too traumatized from that last part. I know it was a lot to take in, trust me. But now we're about to delve into something unprecedented, something that's never happened before, and honestly, no one could have predicted it happening. The fact that MrBeast, or Jimmy, is now fair game to criticize openly, and people are doing it with no mercy. You're not going to necessarily like this if you looked up to him as a kid, so again, strap on, you'll need it. Let's go. I think the idea that Ava is an absolute weirdo or even a monster for what she had done to people like Muskina isn't really something crazy for many people. I think that's an established fact at this point. But this is where things get tricky. The fact that Ava was caught now raises many questions towards Jimmy Donaldson, aka MrBeast. It also opened the floodgates when it comes to other criticisms. Now people are re-examining things that he had done in the past and seeing them in a different light, as well as examining what's going on right now, things that might have not really caught on if it weren't for this controversy, like how, for example, the Beast games that he's working on with Amazon right now are a complete disaster, both in terms of safety and ethics. Now, as you can see from this screenshot right here, right, this was the last message that Ava had sent Muskina, saying "Wow Jess" on July 7th, 2024, and then blocking her, ending all contact. Muskina had reached out to HR at MrBeast LLC, telling them about what happened exactly with Ava, how she was taken advantage of, how, the whole thing was a very, very weird thing. And a few days afterwards, MrBeast had made his statement. But he wasn't innocent in all of this. The Discord leaks, right, the 500,000 plus messages showed that Jimmy was actually in the server up until 2020. And of course, he had the highest role, he had access to all the channels. This is where the weird interactions with minors would take place, where Ava would be sending links to Shadman, to very inappropriate things to younger people, minors. This raises very important questions. How much did Jimmy know of Ava's behavior, even before her transition? Hell, what didn't help at all here is that Jake Franklin, aka Jake the Viking, right, someone who had shown up multiple times in MrBeast videos and was a part of their circle of friends, tweeted out saying Jimmy knew, pointing out to the fact that he knew everything happening behind the scenes and only chose to act now because people found out. Additionally, his response post was briefly, for a few hours, community noted, saying that MrBeast fully knew that Ava Kris Tyson conducted unacceptable acts online. MrBeast was in a server containing minors with Tyson and other members of the MrBeast crew talking about NSFW topics. And these links right here link you towards the messages, right? What I showed you and a bunch of others mentioning that he's in the server. The floodgates truly fully opened when DocPack404, a former employee at MrBeast LLC, right, someone who had worked there and who proves it with his pay slips, right, saying it's payday, MrBeast YouTube LLC has just paid you for working June 15th to June 25th, made a tweet with a clip from a long video he made saying, "I worked for MrBeast, Ava Kris Tyson is the tip of the iceberg." Things were getting interesting all of a sudden. He made a long 53-minute video titled, "I worked for MrBeast, he's a fraud," right? And for a long time, this video couldn't be really very easily be found on YouTube. You put the title in the search bar and you wouldn't even see it until you scroll down for a long time. Now though, it's of course doing better. But the main idea here is that DocPack exposes Jimmy for many things that people didn't bother looking into because of his fame and the fact that he was doing philanthropy on a large scale, right? Criticizing MrBeast in any capacity before the Ava Kris Tyson controversy would have been a death sentence. But now it's different. He argues a few points here. Let's go through them. One of the things he argues first is that MrBeast held illegal lotteries, illegal giveaways, right? Illegal by law in order to grow faster and sell more things. For example, by law, the state lotteries like the Powerball lottery, right? It's composed of three things. You're buying a ticket with your money, it's determined by chance, and then you get a prize. It is illegal to do these three things in a lottery of your own, right? The only person legally able to conduct lotteries on the United States soil is the government, is the state, is whatever. It's not you. In order to conduct a legal lottery or a legal giveaway, you have to remove one of these three things, right? Now watch this clip in DocPack404's video in which MrBeast was doing a promotional stream for his shirts.
Edition 40 mil special shirts. We're celebrating 40 million subscribers with a really big video. Then we will sign that shirt and some of them will get random prizes like this. In 10 minutes.
This is exactly what DocPack's talking about, right? So you're paying to buy a shirt, consider that your lottery ticket, okay? You will be picked out by chance and might get it signed with a prize. All three hallmarks of what an illegal lottery is. Even Captain Sparkles, who if you are on YouTube for a long time, you'd know exactly who I'm talking about, an OG YouTuber with over 11 million subscribers, made a video talking just about how MrBeast and many YouTubers conducted illegal lotteries without knowing.
Profitable illegal lotteries targeted towards children as an act of generosity.
I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to go place an order at shopmrbeast.com. anyone watching any of the lives. And we're going to throw iPhones in some of them.
And again, there are very
Again, right, same thing. Just so many illegal lotteries conducted over the years of MrBeast being a content creator. It's actually crazy when you think about it. Now, DocPack does mention that MrBeast fakes his videos with visual effects. I think at this point, anyone with half a brain would know that when he's sitting in a huge golden yacht in the middle of the ocean, it's not real. But it wasn't necessarily about the visual effects, it was more so about the fact that some other things might have been manipulated to make the video seem something completely different. We'll get to that later. But DocPack was alleging that people who won prizes in MrBeast videos didn't always receive them or received them in the worst way possible. Linking a Reddit thread here where someone was promised dog food for life for adopting a dog during a video and didn't receive anything, and then talks about someone else who describes their experience winning $1 million and getting 1 hour to choose the house they wanted from MrBeast. That's it. I think the main takeaway here is that some shady things happen behind the scenes. Of course, to grow this quickly, some shady things have to happen behind the scenes, right? One of the weirdest things, I think, is when Feastables, MrBeast's chocolate brand, launched in Australia. Look at what they did to promote it. This is a video by Upper Echelon called The MrBeast Cover-Up Has Begun. It's a wonderful video. I recommend you watch it. It's not too long. It's 14 minutes long. I'll be referencing it a couple times here, but check this out. This was what MrBeast had done when he launched Feastables in Australia to try and get as many people as possible to buy it.
To the surface, such as this, where MrBeast ran an Australian sweepstakes event giving away cars, but the format was to buy Feastables chocolate bars with no regulation on age, and then play a slot machine on your phone. Lots of people got the winning combination, but that didn't matter either because the app was broken. You would buy chocolate, scan a QR code, play a slot machine at any age, get the 3 cars required to win, and then you didn't win. If any other YouTuber did this, they would be universally despised by the community. Still, not even.
And that's a good point, right? That's a very good point. The fact that, I mean, come on, dude, right? Like people who stream slots, people who typically take deals with casinos, they're always seen negatively. What is this if not promoting gambling to children, right? I mean, come on, let's be real here. The majority of MrBeast viewers grew up watching him, were kids. You're selling them a slot machine. No one saw anything wrong with this. This idea that you're gonna win a shiny Lamborghini through a slot machine on your phone, encouraging children to buy more and more chocolate and then literally gamble. Like, first off, not only is that illegal, but what the hell are we doing here? And I completely agree with Upper Echelon. If anyone else had done it, they will be in trouble. But because it's MrBeast, we allow it. Why? Because he does charity, I guess. But a good thing doesn't necessarily excuse a bad thing. But it wasn't only negatives, right? You know, I have to show you the whole story here. The person who said that they only had like an hour to pick $1 million house actually came out in defense of MrBeast. And he said, I see everyone has been tagging me saying that MrBeast did me wrong when that's not even remotely true. In this video, I explained that we didn't invest when Jimmy said we would, but I also said that Jimmy for 4 years straight has kept me financially straight without ever asking for anything. So please stop saying that when he did help me. My experience is not the same as everyone else. So, as always, there are 2 sides to every story, right? It's not like, you know, if the floodgates open, people typically tend to just dogpile the person that's being criticized, but it's also important to still, as much as you can, look at it objectively. Another allegation that DocPack was making is that you will not get in a MrBeast video unless you know someone. It's actually not random. The Twitter user Brad came out in defense of MrBeast, quoting what DocPack had said, which was, you won't get in a video unless you're family or friends with someone that works at MrBeast, and then said, I'm a random dude that lives across the country and clicked subscribe at the right time. You absolutely can get in a MrBeast video as a stranger, and most of the contestants are. And then you see messages from MrBeast with him saying, hey, you're my 5 millionth subscriber. You mind if I come with a U-Haul full of stuff? Lol. And then the Twitter user Brad saying, are you serious? Absolutely. Then things got real when Chucky, the co-founder of viewstats.com, which is the website I used to show you the stats of MrBeast's channel in the beginning of the video, had something to say about this. And the reason why this was a big deal was, well, ViewStats is owned by MrBeast. So this technically made Chucky the highest ranking employee to directly talk about DocPack's video. And here's what he had to say. I quickly want to debunk some of the info in this video since the guy who made it was on my team. It was my decision to fire him for erratic behavior. He worked at the company for less than a month and wasn't an employee for most of the videos he mentions to have knowledge on. There's so much in his video, and I want to specifically address him saying our videos are fake or staged because this is not true, and I was on set for many of these videos. He brings up multiple points and then mentions his response. The first one being, you won't get in a video unless you're family or friends with someone that works at MrBeast. Chucky says this is a wild statement that can easily be proven wrong. There's probably hundreds or thousands of people who have no affiliation to friends/family of Beast employees. Think the 456 people in Squid Game, or ages 1 to 100, etc. Jimmy doesn't know more than like a dozen people, lol. The next point was, the train track was CGI, the bus wheels are CGI, the pit is fake, and Chucky says he acts like he's exposing us for using CGI to make backgrounds look cool when we have done multiple public behind the scenes videos with So Crispy showing this. It's clearly not a secret. On top of that, we did drive buses in that pit, and same with the train that you claim we didn't. Third point is the raccoon was a paid actor. The reason why DocPack included this in his video was to prove a larger point, because in a video, Jimmy pets a raccoon, makes it seem like it's a wild raccoon, but DocPack says no, actually it's domesticated. They brought it on set just to pet it. Chucky says, I don't even know what to say about this, clearly not an actor. Next point is island costs more than $1. This is referencing MrBeast buying an island. He says that even though MrBeast said it was $1, it actually turned out to be $28 with taxes and fees. To which Chucky said, not true, we did pay $1 for this island. You can Google MrBeast purchases Outer Banks island for $1, which stated this before the video was released. And if we do Google search, that is true. There is an article that shows this. Then there are points that don't really matter as much in the grand scheme of things. Like, for example, at some point, DocPack alleges that there was a wink that was added in post-production that wasn't actually there during the competition, but that plays into something larger, that some of the storylines in the videos are fake, are staged. Like how when he says, the revenge storyline was added in post. DocPack is specifically referencing a storyline here in the video titled Ages 1 to 100 Decide Who Wins $250,000. In this video, you have a massive rivalry between contestants 42 and 58. It was actually one of the main highlights of the video that made people want to watch the whole thing. And as you can see in one of the comments on the Reddit thread here, someone says he winked like 3 times on camera, he probably did it to ruin 42's day, referencing 58 winking at 42, taunting him, making him seem more like a villain. DocPack is alleging that these winks were added in post-production, that they weren't villains to begin with, that this was standard reality TV show twisting narratives. But Chucky counters this point by saying that the contestants have talked about this outside of MrBeast videos on live streams and whatever, and saying that they did not like each other, that it simply wasn't fake, it just actually is what happened. Now these last 2 points are where it gets the spiciest, right? At some point, MrBeast had a video called 100 Boys vs 100 Girls, right? DocPack alleges that they were fake. In fact, they didn't want the boys to win by too much, otherwise it would have been a PR problem. And the proof was that he messaged a short-term employee he knew that wanted to be anonymous, saying this in a text. Other noteworthy things in the text were also, we didn't have enough girls to film, so several MrBeast employees stepped in for the video, but most had to get out almost immediately, and that the results were rigged. Chucky said, he claims our 100 Boys vs 100 Girls video is scripted and the proof is a random text saying it is? That's it? It was not scripted. Jimmy probably had countless people on set for that video and it would have been impossible to hide. This video was not scripted. I was on set for this and there was no bias for who won. He also implies the video is fake because we have some employees on each team. The employees in the video were to fill in for people who tested positive for COVID last minute right before filming. Thea, Jimmy's girlfriend, mentioned this on a podcast over a year ago. If it wasn't for COVID, they would have not been in it. They had the same money on the line as everyone else. Some random text of someone thinking it was rigged doesn't mean it's rigged. He also suggested the real-time video was fake. This is not fake. It was a nightmare to make this video and it was legit filmed in 10 minutes. Now what I do want to mention here is that back in 2023 there was this big controversy involving the YouTuber Rosanna Pansino, who was in the video called Extreme $1 Million Hide and Seek between other YouTubers. She alleges that she and Quackity, standing right here, got 2nd and 3rd place respectively. But the video was rigged because in the end they weren't in top 3. The only people who won top 3 were big YouTubers. And the first person who won, which was the YouTuber Zach King, actually cheated by hiding on the roof but was given a pass because in her opinion this would have been just more profitable for MrBeast. It would have been more profitable to have him win in the video. Chucky didn't mention this in his statement, right? And lastly, Chucky brings up the point DocPack made, which is also I think some of the MrBeast giveaways are fake. And Chucky says, we do not fake giveaways. I have been hands-on with some of them and have personally been the person to connect winners with our accounting department to get paid. You also suggested we didn't spend $1 million on Samsung phones, and I can assure you we did. Another life from you. I could keep going, but I don't want this to be too long. Dawson himself, which is DocPack404, said on Reddit that he was on shrooms and weed when filming this video, which might explain some of the made-up stuff. Dawson was only employed from March 25th, 2024 and was let go on April 19th, 2024. He was on a 90-day trial and we ended it early and paid him out to June 25th as we guaranteed the 90 days of pay so he could transition into a new job. I'd appreciate it if everyone reading this could help dispel all these fake rumors by spreading this info. Jimmy spends unfathomable amounts of money and time to ensure the integrity of what he does, and I hate to see it come into question with a bunch of lies. Dawson, if you leave this up, then you're a hypocrite. So of course some of the replies here are calling him out at the fact that the video is 53 minutes long and he only addressed some of the points, like for example, what happened to Rosanna in the $1 million hide and seek video. Or the fact that yes, he did conduct illegal giveaways. Whether he actually met them or not, you know, they're still illegal. Now DocPack actually made a full replying to Chucky's post, saying, debunking your debunking. Good character assassination attempt. You leave out my unpaid trial period and also my time working for Idea Guys, a company for which MrBeast is a client. The founder of Idea Guys also had to get permission from MrBeast to hire me. So weird you guys wouldn't tell him I was being erratic. Also, weed and shrooms was an obvious joke. He talks about the statement, which is Jimmy doesn't know more than like a dozen people, and says, you expect people to believe this? How many people do his employees know? Who was the contestant in Train vs. Pit? How about Lambo vs. Shredder? How did Ava's cousin Justin get into the Chocolate Factory video or Della Vlogs? Then the next point is CGI is clearly not a secret, to which DocPack says, cool. So when Jimmy was accused of using too much CGI in Train vs. Pit, why did he deny it on Twitter? Then the next statement is the raccoon was a paid actor, as ridiculous as it sounds. DocPack says, bruh, you expect people to believe Kris and Chandler were just petting an actual wild raccoon? Then talks about the island. The transfer tax was $1 and the company also paid $27 in tax and fees for the property. Also, you leased it back to the owner for $0. 1 plus $27 equals $28. Again, this is a minor detail, but I've seen people say the reason they bring this up is because, okay, so if he lied about this being $1, what else did he lie about, right? Because if you're willing to make up small lies like this, then maybe you find it effortless to make larger lies. Then he brings up the wink being added in post-production and says it was. Compare that wink to the contestants' other winks in other scenes or none his TikToks, or on his TikToks. His mouth always partially opens. Here that doesn't happen because in the original footage it was a blink, altered to match the false revenge narrative. Then says, interesting how you didn't mention altering the timers or contestant dialogue in post. So DocPack wasn't just alleging fake storylines, but also other things, like modifying a timer to seem closer to 0 when it actually is way higher just for suspense sake, etc, etc. Then DocPack ends his reply with, you acknowledge that the contestants were not random subscribers, but refuse to acknowledge the clear rigging which can be seen multiple times on camera? Please watch Upper Echelon's video analyzing case law regarding this rigging. Also, I've now heard from people on the boys team that they were fed much later than the girls, and that production was clearly favoring the boys. Upper Echelon's video also goes into the alleged illegal lotteries which he describes as seeming completely indefensible. You conveniently forgot to address these as well. Now hide my reply because you're guilty. Also, in a later reply, he does mention that he made a typo in this sentence. So instead of saying, and that production was clearly favoring the boys, he meant to say the girls, right? Now, I'm not sure if you find this to be spicy enough just yet, but if you don't, then don't worry, we're upping the heat. DocPack404 received a cease and desist from MrBeast YouTube LLC for disclosing sensitive, confidential, and proprietary information regarding the company's business operations and content creation methodology in breach of your contractual and legal obligations to the company, including the contractual post-employment obligations set forth in the confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement executed to you in connection with your employment. So here they're talking about the NDA that he signed regarding his employment. And this, of course, as you might guess, is really bad. Not necessarily for DocPack, but for MrBeast, because this means the company is scared. This is not a good look. When you try to silence someone, it means they have something worth hearing. And in this cease and desist, you're admitting that he is breaching the NDA by disclosing things that are confidential, not necessarily false. DocPack then says, some updates. I was originally going to expose MrBeast's philanthropy efforts being more for aiding private interests and boosting MrBeast's image rather than actually doing anything good, but in that investigation, I came across something far more interesting that no one else has ever found. Part 2 will be far more damaging to MrBeast's career than Part 1. And then he gives an example of MrBeast's Team Seas, a project that was made by MrBeast to remove many millions of pounds of trash from beaches, seas, oceans, everything really involving water. DocPack says it's pretty well known that it had no statistically significant impact on ocean pollution. So we'll see what happens. The reason why MrBeast has been fairly invincible so far is because of his philanthropic efforts. If it turns out that there's something weird going on there too, then it can genuinely ruin MrBeast, not only his reputation, but everything about his career. A day later, DocPack receives another cease and desist, saying this firm, Hidden, has recently been retained by MrBeast YouTube LLC and its founder Jimmy Donaldson regarding the unsettling news that you have embarked on a campaign to disparage MrBeast as a company and defame Jimmy Donaldson as an individual. Not only are your statements about MrBeast and Jimmy Donaldson untrue, they also violate the clear, binding, enforceable terms of your confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement with MrBeast dated March 25th, 2024, the NDA agreement, which you have shown in videos posted to the internet. DocPack then claims that his number got leaked, apparently from a MrBeast employee named Kaylee. I've been getting texts from former MrBeast employees. Text I received last night claims that James wants to have private investigators start following me and looking into my family's social media accounts to find ways to discredit me. Apparently, the best narrative they have right now is that I'm a crazy, drug-addicted MrBeast superfan that got fired for trying to steal company funds. If this text is true, I will say, MrBeast, if you want to resort to personal attacks, I'm happy to reciprocate or, just address the evidence. So things are getting crazy here, and these cease and desists, again, are not a good look. Look, one thing you have to understand here is that NDAs usually are signed in order to not leak confidential info to other competing companies. So for example, if I'm working on a top secret self-driving car project at Google and then get hired at Tesla, this NDA stops me from leaking information to Tesla that has potential to damage all the hard work Google has been doing for years. But for MrBeast YouTube LLC, it seems that the NDA is more tied to reputational damage rather than property damage. Because DocPack in his video, let's be real here, didn't really leak any methodology or anything crazy in MrBeast's videos. There's no secret info that can give an advantage to any of his competitors. What he did do though was leak things that could damage MrBeast's reputation. So that's what the NDA is being used for here, which again, doesn't help his image. Speaking of image, Rosanna Pensino has been getting many messages from contestants on the Beast Games project that is being worked on with Amazon MGM Studios, which potentially not only could maybe cancel the show at some point, but doesn't help MrBeast's reputation at all. As you can see from the title here, hoarding chocolate, seizures, and broken bones messages depict bad conditions on Beast Games project, with an alleged quote from one of the contestants saying people were having seizures because they were not getting medication even though we were promised we would. She has since then made 4 different videos talking about contestants messaging her in droves talking about the terrible conditions on set. Guys, you have to understand, this is the first time something of this magnitude has happened for a game show, right? Whether it be on cable television, on network television, on whatever. Even online streaming services, this is the biggest game show in history with 1,000 different contestants. This is what Amazon was banking on, and so far, the only things that are coming out of it are disasters. The New York Times wrote an article about this, with the title Willing to Die for MrBeast and 5 Million. The contestants in the internet stars Beast Games expected outlandish challenges and signed contracts that acknowledged risks of serious injury and death. Still, few were prepared for the conditions on set. Speaking with the New York Times on the condition of anonymity due to non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, over a dozen people who participated in the first installment of Beast Games said that they had not received adequate food or medical care and that some competitors had suffered injuries from the physical challenges. Some contestants left the competition arena on stretchers, a contestant said, though it was unclear if any of those contestants had faced serious medical conditions. Another described watching fellow contestants vomiting and appearing to pass out. There were several hospitalizations. Of course, Amazon MGM Studios backed Jimmy up. Mr. Donaldson's content has always relied on the willingness of others, often strangers, to go to the extremes to create highly watchable videos. During his meteoric rise to mega virality, some former employees have spoken out about safety concerns on MrBeast sets, but his vast fan base has continued to see him as fundamentally charitable and well-meaning. Now, amid allegations about Beast games as well as recent accusations about inappropriate language used by Mr. Donaldson, his reputation as well as his multi-million-dollar YouTube empire are on the line. You know, very corporate, very... I mean, what did you expect, right? They only think about money, they don't really care about anything else. But one contestant said, "We signed up for the show, but we didn't sign up for not being fed or watered or treated like human beings." Several contestants also said they had not been warned about how little they would be given to eat and how infrequently. They described going long stretches without being fed by the production. One said she had gone over 20 hours both during the games and while they were in Las Vegas before and after filming. One meal, described by several contestants, included a tiny portion of cold oatmeal, one hard-boiled egg, and a few pieces of raw vegetables. And dude, check this out. Oh my god. Contestants were instructed to supply the production staff with a Ziploc bag containing 5 days worth of undergarments, which would be distributed to contestants once the games were underway. But several contestants said they had waited hours or even days to receive their clean underwear. One woman said that when she and a group of contestants who were menstruating during the event had asked the production staff about getting their underwear more quickly, she had been told that it was not a medical emergency, and she recalled that a nearby member of production staff had laughed at the women's pleading. That is a terrible look, dude. Now I'm gonna let a little clip from Upper Echelon's video play, showing you that this whole problem with safety has been a problem since the beginning. It's just now that we're actually understanding the scale. Watch.
Turns out the alarm bells, so to speak, over how MrBeast's company operates itself have been sounding for quite a while. In February of 2024, Time magazine published an article titled "In the Belly of the Beast." A reporter openly discussed the concept of worker safety with paragraphs like this, quote, "Scott Brown, a creative producer who worked for MrBeast from March 2023 to August 2023, says that in order to move fast at MrBeast, they view safety as, like, being overly cautious or a weakness."
That's so insane.
He helped produce the Train vs. Giant Pit video and believed the safety procedures were insufficient. When he suggested using OSHA protocols for the pit's considerable drop, I was told, "We don't need to worry about that," he says. Other producers say they were asked to work with explosives, fast cars, and heavy machinery with very little training on very little notice. Let's just say as an 18-year-old, says Jay Neo, who moved to Greenville from the UK to help on the creative team, it felt weird to be writing on the board days without an accident that needed to be updated every day, end quote. There's more, like the assertion that many employees had signed non-disclosure agreements and would not go on the record for fear of angering a powerful company.
Yeah, which is what's going on right now because they would be sent cease and desists. It's crazy to me that they had the meme on a whiteboard involving actual human lives. Like, that's just so insane to me, dude. You're dealing with actual people. This isn't a joke. And of course, they're not following safety protocols. And it was admitted by an employee in a Times article, like as if he was flexing, like, "Yeah, we don't really use safety protocols up here. We just wing it." Nice. And now you're winging it with 1,000 lives. The reputation of MrBeast is already all out on the line. His most recent video, this is 6 hours ago, right? He published "Survive 100 Days in a Nuclear Bunker, Win $500,000. The dislikes are abysmal. 1.8 million likes and 1.4 million dislikes. This is one of the most disliked videos in MrBeast history and might be the most disliked on his entire channel. What's weird though is when you look at the comments, all of them, and I mean all of them, are positive, which means that there are employees right now that are currently deleting anything negative, and I mean anything. Also, he most likely has a filter, so if you type a certain word like dogpack or Ava or whatever, it just gets automatically deleted without you even knowing. People have been getting creative, getting through the filters by just typing everything without pressing spacebar or typing something like this, "Beastie, you ain't innocent," but I guarantee you these two comments are not there anymore. Now here's the kicker. Dislikes don't exist on YouTube anymore for the broader public. Only the uploader can see them in YouTube Studio. I use the plugin Return YouTube Dislike to see dislikes on videos usually. I've even tested it out on my own videos and compared it to the stats in YouTube Studio, and honestly, it's fairly similar. MrBeast though alleges that it's not accurate at all and sent this screenshot to Drama Alert saying that no, actually, I only have 5,000 dislikes and 1.1 million likes. Keemstar was then accused of being paid by MrBeast, so he posted a video sent by MrBeast in which he refreshes YouTube Studio, showing that no, actually, barely 1.2% disliked the video. I'm personally skeptical of this, right? This video almost has more than 100 million views by now. It's kind of crazy to think that it only has 37,000 dislikes after videos covering the incidents received millions of views. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but statistically speaking, it's hard to believe how YouTube dislike is going to estimate 1.6 million dislikes versus 37,000. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. There are clearly so many questions left to ask when it comes to Jimmy and his channel. What has transpired over the years and what is really going on? I don't think we'll be ever getting a real response. Jimmy's hoping to just move on from this without any problems. His third-party investigation, I don't even think will net anything concrete. DocPack says there's a part 2 coming that's going to be even worse than part 1. All eyes are going to be on that video, whether you're a viewer, a corporation, a YouTuber, everyone has their eyes on DocPack404's channel. If MrBeast's philanthropy ends up being fake or rigged or in the interest of corporations, that's gonna actually be way worse than what's been going on right now, because much of his good reputation is built on that. Make no mistake, this isn't even about Ava Kris Tyson anymore. We moved on already. This is about Jimmy Donaldson, the biggest YouTube channel in the world and someone who's actually changed YouTube with his content. Is this going to be the end? Well, so far, it's not looking very good. Let me know what you think, right? Of course, there's some people, I've seen comments of people saying, hey man, I don't care if MrBeast kills someone. With the amount of good he's done in the world, I'll forgive him. So, opinions can definitely vary in this regard. So, let me know what you think. If you actually watch till the end, as always, you're insane in a good way. I love you so much, and I'll see you in whatever next video I decide to make. I love you. Mwah.